It was a typical morning at the prestigious Columbia Preparatory School, where children of politicians, businesspeople, and celebrities studied. Everything about the school exuded sophistication. The classrooms gleamed with care, the gardens were perfectly trimmed, and the hallways were always spotless. But the person responsible for this constant shine was no one famous or glamorous. His name was Frank Miller, the school janitor. At 63 years old, Frank was a dedicated worker who spent almost all his time taking care of the building. Despite his efforts to keep the school perfect, few noticed his presence. He was the invisible man, the one who cleaned up after everyone had left and made sure everything was in order before anyone arrived. Frank had a simple but difficult routine. He left home before dawn and only returned at night, exhausted. He had lost his wife a few years ago and raised his granddaughter, Lily, alone. Everything he did was for her. The little he earned from his job as a janitor barely covered the bills, but he never complained. That morning, Frank was cleaning the main hallways when he saw the principal, Mr. Collins, rushing by with a group of teachers. He overheard fragments of the conversation. "I haven't told anyone yet. I don't want to cause a stir. He will arrive in less than an hour." Frank didn't pay much attention. At Columbia Prep, visits from influential people were common. Probably just another politician or some billionaire wanting to sponsor something, he thought as he kept scrubbing the floor. Soon after, the sound of powerful engines signaled the arrival of someone important. Frank looked out the window and saw a convoy of black SUVs stopping at the school entrance. From the lead car, Donald Trump stepped out, accompanied by his security team and some assistants. Frank was surprised. It wasn't every day that he saw someone so famous up close, even working at such a prestigious school. He quickly returned to his work, trying to avoid drawing attention, but he became curious about the reason for the visit. In the main auditorium, Trump was welcomed by teachers and students. He was there for a surprise visit, specifically to talk to the students about leadership, resilience, and the power of hard work. After the speech, he decided to take a tour of the building and learn more about the school where his son Barron studied. As Trump walked down the hallways with the principal, he noticed Frank. The janitor was bent over one of the water fountains, trying to fix it. His shirt was worn out, and his calloused hands told the story of years of hard work. Trump stopped and approached. "Are you the one responsible for keeping this place so clean?" he asked in his direct tone. Frank looked up, surprised to be noticed. "Yes, sir. I do what I can to keep everything in order." Trump looked at the water fountain Frank was fixing. "It seems like you do more than you can. This place is spotless." Frank smiled shyly. "I just do my job, sir." Barron, who was with his father, approached with a smile. "This is Mr. Miller, Dad. He's always here taking care of everything. He's really nice." Trump looked at Frank's tired face and noticed something. There was a man here who worked hard, but who clearly carried a weight greater than it seemed. "How long have you been working here?" Trump asked. "For 20 years, sir." "And have you always been a janitor?" "Yes. I started here after my wife got sick. I needed a stable job to support my family. I've been here ever since." Trump nodded silently. He didn't say anything else, but Frank felt that this encounter was different. After his conversation with Frank, Trump asked the principal to tell him more about him. Mr. Collins explained that Frank was a dedicated employee, always the first to arrive and the last to leave. He also mentioned Frank's granddaughter, Lily, and how he did everything for her, often sacrificing his own needs to ensure she had a decent life. Trump became thoughtful. He knew the value of hard work, but he also knew that sometimes people like Frank needed special recognition. "Collins, don't tell anyone yet. I want to do something for this man." The principal agreed, intrigued. The next day, Frank arrived early, as always. He began his routine of cleaning the hallways and organizing the classrooms. When he was done, he went to the parking lot to check an area that needed sweeping. There, he found something that left him completely speechless. A brand new SUV was parked in the center of the courtyard, with a large red bow on the hood. Standing next to the car were Donald Trump and Barron, smiling. Is this a mistake? Frank asked, unable to believe his eyes. Trump stepped forward. No, Frank. This is a gift. I've seen how hard you work, and I want you to know that it doesn't go unnoticed. This car is for you and your granddaughter. You deserve it. Frank felt tears welling up in his eyes. He tried to speak, but his voice failed. I don't know what to say. No one has ever done something like this for me. Just enjoy it, Frank, Trump said. You deserve this and much more. Keep being the example you already are. Frank stood there, staring at the SUV with the red bow as if it were a dream he didn't want to wake from. The school staff started gathering around, curious about the commotion. The sound of applause echoed across the courtyard as everyone realized what was happening. This is amazing, said a teacher, wiping her eyes. Finally, someone recognized Mr. Miller's hard work. Frank looked at Trump, his eyes misty, and tried to speak again. Mr. Trump, this is too much. I don't know how to thank you. Trump placed a firm hand on Frank's shoulder in a comforting gesture. Frank, you don't need to thank me. You've already done more than enough. It's because of people like you that places like this run so well. What you do matters, and everyone should know that. Barron, who was standing next to his father, smiled at Frank and said, Now you can take your granddaughter anywhere you want, Mr. Miller. That broke any resistance Frank had left. He began to cry, but not from sadness. These were tears of gratitude and relief. You have no idea how much this means to me. And to Lily, he said, trying to control his emotions. Frank knew that this SUV wasn't just a material gift. It was an opportunity. The car he had been driving before was in terrible condition, and often he had to walk long distances when the vehicle broke down. Now he could safely take Lily to school, go shopping without worries, and even plan small trips that had once been impossible. Trump's gesture spread like wildfire throughout the school. Teachers and students talked about Frank's humility and hard work, which were finally being recognized. Frank has always been the soul of this school, Principal Collins said in a meeting with the teachers. He does everything without expecting anything in return. This is the kind of person we need to value more. Trump's gesture not only transformed Frank's life, but it also had a profound impact on the school's culture. Suddenly, students began to notice the importance of everyone who worked behind the scenes to ensure that the school environment was safe and clean. Children started greeting Frank in the hallways, and teachers mentioned him in class as an example of resilience and dedication. On a bulletin board at the school entrance, the students made a poster that read, "Thank you, Mr. Miller, for everything you do for us." Frank passed by the poster every day and felt a warmth in his chest. For the first time in a long while, he felt truly valued. That night, when Frank arrived home with the SUV, Lily was speechless. She ran outside, her eyes shining, and gave her grandfather a big hug. "Is this ours, Grandpa?" Frank smiled and nodded. "Yes, dear. Someone very special gave us this. Now we can go wherever we want." Lily climbed into the driver's seat, pretending to drive, while Frank watched her with a smile. He knew that all the sacrifices he had made over the years had been worth it. "One day," he told Lily, "I want you to remember this. No matter what you do in life, work hard, treat people with respect, and above all, never lose faith." Days later, during an interview, Donald Trump was asked about the reason behind his gesture. His answer was simple but powerful. "I saw a man who represents the best of the American spirit. Hard work, dedication, and love for family. People like Frank are the heart of our country, and they deserve to be recognized." Frank's story and his SUV went viral. Social media was flooded with comments praising Trump's gesture and the impact it had on the life of an ordinary yet extraordinary man. Frank continued working at the school, but his life was never the same. He now had not only a new car but also a new sense of his worth and the impact his dedication had on others. Lily, inspired by her grandfather, began to stand out at school and dreamed of studying to become an engineer. She would tell anyone who would listen, "My grandfather taught me that hard work can open doors." And now I want to open doors for other people too. Trump's gesture turned into something much bigger than just a gift. It inspired an entire school, gave hope to a family, and reminded the world that honest work and a generous heart can transform lives. The end.